Is this thing on? Is it working? If there's anybody out there, this is the third time I've tried to go live streaming in a row. If you're there, let me know. We're here in Stevie Black's. It's a very beautiful studio. He has a drum kit over here. Yay! Nothing's nothing. Hey, do me a favor, everybody, because I'm... Hello! Sorry, I was getting a phone call saying it is working. Matt in Canada was calling. Yeah, we had a problem getting online, so I apologize profusely. So what are we doing? We're in Stevie Black's studio. Now, Stevie Black, for some of you that may know, is a really wonderful string arranger. He's very, very well known out here. Do you think I can get a good sound from only a Focusrite second generation solo? Yeah, probably. How old is that? Patrick from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Hello. Anyway, we're at Stevie Black's place, and we're having a lot of fun. I'm going to try and keep up with these questions because I promised I would do a Q&A. So to do a Q&A, I have to see these questions. So give me a second to find it on YouTube. So hold your proverbial horses here. Ah, there's my stupid face there. Okay. Thanks, everybody that's watching. So if you can do me a huge favor, if you don't mind sharing and liking. Sorry to sound like I'm begging, but that's the only way people are going to know that I'm online. So I'm going to put this down here on my laptop. Yay! And I'm going to try and read out the questions here as we go. So thank you, Nothing Nothing. Thank you, Eddie from Brazil. Greetings from Slovenia for Oscar. Good day, Charles. Hey, Marek from London. Hello from Poland, MR Mr. P, PA. Again, hello, Nicholas in Brazil. Dominic, hello in Germany. Rich in Chicago. Singapore, lovely. Compressor, barely newer. That's all, folks. Holland. Check my channel, my flaws while mixing and mastering. Hello from Texas and Jaser. Wow, everybody's all over the place. So the first question was a Focusrite second generation solo. Yes, I have one. Yes, you can make music from it. Is it going to be the best ever thing ever made? No, they're definitely significantly better there. Hello in Texas. Hey, Rick Beato's online. Everybody, if you haven't already, go and subscribe to Rick Beato's channel. It is arguably the best one out there. I'd like to say mine is really good and Rick's is freaking amazing. There's so many good channels out there. As you know, I'm a fan of many, many people. I love collaboration. One of the best things about what we do is the ability to collaborate. And I had a very, very good experience with Rick about, we decided, I think it was maybe 15 or 16 years ago. You're the man, Rick. Rick came to my studio and I assisted him, and I learned more from him in like 4 days than I had from many, many other people. And the reason why I learned a lot from him is because he's a fantastic musician. Go and watch his channel. It is phenomenal playing. He can play multiple instruments, but not all about... It's about using his ear. And he talks a lot about ear training. It's one thing as a guitar player, and I'm talking as a guitar player, that we tend to leave behind. The great thing about piano players, the beautiful thing about piano players, is you understand harmony quite quickly and melody quite quickly. Guitar players were sitting there playing chords and then we're learning our blues licks. God bless us. But Rick has a really, really well-developed ear, and that is a very, very important part of being a musician. Not just all about the technique. So go and check out his channel. He talks about ear training. He talks about chord substitutions. He talks about everything. Composition is a big one of his that I have a lot of fun watching, because I'm a composer like everybody in music, but he breaks it down in a wonderful way. So check out his channel. Okay, thank you everybody here. So I'm going to start going through these questions because there's a lot. Music is distracting. Of course it is. What's the latest projects you're working on? I'm doing a lot of independent artists. I'm mixing one major label album at the moment. Any other YouTube channels you recommend? You have to tell me what you're looking for. Rick's is the perfect channel for me because I'm a producer, an engineer, and a mixer. So I do all that stuff every single day. But what do I always want to grow in? I want to grow my ear. I want to grow my composition. I want to grow my arrangements. That to me is a big next step up from being technically good at doing something, at recording drums, etc. Those are wonderful things to do. But the next thing up for me is my ear and developing that. I love being able to, where to buy my shirts. My wife buys my shirts. I tell you this every time. I'm married with kids, so I get my shirts bought for me. And if she's watching, she'll agree. So the thing about it is that I love to be able to pride myself. I love to be able to pride myself on hearing the chord arrangements, the harmonies, everything that I need to bring as a producer. I think it's the next step for any of you who are technically proficient at your DAW is develop your ear. So I highly, highly recommend you check out Rick's channel. It's growing rapidly fast because it's so good. So I like his channel specifically for that. I think it's amazing. The musicality is off the charts. I also really, really like Graham Cochran because Graham brings people in. He talks about, like, if you've only got 350 bucks, here's the gear you need to get started. And that is a big deal. It's a huge deal. We should be encouraging young people to make music. Playing drums in a metal band, nice. So definitely this is what it's all about. It's about encouraging each other. I love a sense of community. Tips on panning. Well, the big thing is I use a lot of LCR. I really do. If I'm doing heavy guitar on the left, the reverb, the delay of it on the opposite side. Heavy guitar on the right, the reverb and the delay of that on the left. Love doing that. Hello, Coach. Thank you. Always want to ask for promos. Lots of my favorite albums, 6 to 7s, have a really specific sound for the vocal harmonies. I'm thinking No MM. Those harmonies were essentially recorded live, and the reason why they have a blend is because they're all listening to each other and they're creating the blend together. They're using U48s in a figure of 8, so one guy's on one side, one guy's on another. So if you want that sound, you have to capture live performances. I'll say it one more time. If you want that sound, you have to capture live performances. As Jerry Hammock was saying a couple of weeks ago, we've got to remember the Beatles were actually recording live in a room. No matter how many overdubs we hear, the essential bass, guitar, drums, keyboards, whatever it was tracked live in a room, and sometimes vocals too. Especially on the earlier records, the vocals as well. So because of that, you have to remember, if you want to capture that sound, that kind of performance, you need to bring that kind of performance. Vocal placement, tips on it, opinion on owning an Axe-Fx. I actually have an Axe-Fx. I have an Axe-Fx and I have like 4 or 5 amps. I have a Rode amp, which I love, which reminds me of an AC-15. If an AC-15 and a Marshall had a baby, they give birth to the Carl Martin Rode. It's my favorite little amp. I also have a Pro Junior, which is an obnoxious little box. I also have a Yamaha THR head, which is fantastic. And I have a bunch of Marshalls. I'm a Marshall fanatic. I have a JCM 900, 800, and a JMP, a 1978 Mark II JMP, which is my go-to amp. And I find that I use a boost kick, a Carl Martin boost kick on the front end to push the Marshall, and it actually, on the clean tone, sounds fantastic. Don't have any output gain, but I do have a UA Apollo, which is several preamp plugins. Do you think you can get buy these and mixing in the box? Yeah, I do. I really firmly believe in having at least one decent mic pre coming in on the way in. I really do. I believe in it very, very strongly, to have something that's really ultra high quality coming in. If you can get that with a high quality mic, high quality preamp, just one of each, your mixes and your productions are going to drive so much higher. Most of the time, I mean, look, here we are. Here's my... Thank you, I'm so glad to be able to help one. Look, so here I am, I'm in Rick... Not in Rick's, I'm in Stevie Black's studio. Use a DSO. Boost EQ and then DS it. Boost EQ, DS. I use like 3 or 4 DSs. Steve Fitzmaurice uses 3 or 4. Most of the best mixers use multiple DSs, not to get rid of S's, but to calm the high end on their vocals. Hello from the UK. Whatever, you use constant, yours is necessary. I wasn't recording and mixing down in DAW such as Pro Tools. I mix in a hybrid fashion. So here we are in Stevie Black's. So he has this beautiful little, looks like a 5-foot grand piano here. Little mini grand, and he's miking it with a pair of Royers, looks like 121s. He has a collection of violins here, a beautiful collection, 5 violins. We have a stand-up bass here, which is absolutely gorgeous. We have a beautiful Martin. We have some congas and some bongos. We have a beautiful little DW kit here, which is absolutely gorgeous. We have, of course, all of his, well, not all of his, but a lot of his platinum records there for different things he's worked on, whether it be Madonna, I know he's got Rihanna and Aaliyah there, Kobe Calais. This looks like a beautiful dobro, cello. There's a viola over here. So basically, this is the modern studio. It's a converted behind the house studio, and it's absolutely beautiful. And this is where he makes all his recordings. He's got some really cool amps, you know. But ultimately, outside of these drums, you see here he's got like a D112 stuck in there. Yeah, I like the 2i2. I use it. I'm a bit partial at the moment to the audience stuff. They're really good people as well to deal with. Yeah, so really simple. He's just got a kick, and at the moment a 57 on the snare. So 57 snare top, pair of overheads, and a D112. So a 4-mic drum set, 4 mics on the kit. So sorry if I'm moving the mic too fast. I'm moving the camera too fast. I can see it all blurry there. I apologize for that. There's a 12 string over there, and there's a banjo. So ultimate things. How do you make room for vocals during mixing when the arrangement is subpar? Well, there's multiple answers to that question. That's a very, very, very good question, but there's multiple answers. And the multiple answers are this. It's very guitar heavy. Yeah, the Audient ID4 is fantastic. There's a lot of really good stuff out there. The price is great. So multiple answers to that question are, if you've got really heavy, dense guitars, you could do a number of things. One of the things I like to do is run a multi-band compressor, and you could duck the 3 to 5K range. You know, duck the 3 to 5K range when the singer's singing out of the heavy guitars. If you've got a screaming lead guitar and it's interfering with the lead vocal, just use simple volume ducking on the screaming lead guitar. So every time the singer sings, it ducks the vocal a little bit. And then you get this beautiful interplay between the lead guitar over the top of the vocal and vice versa. I have used FGX mastering. How to remove harshness from vocals when you get them a lot mixing. I just talked about that earlier. Use de-essing. Use a de-esser. Don't use the de-esser simply to get rid of the S's, but to control the high end. You can boost top end, de-ess it, boost, de-ess it, and you'll really get the vocal to sound airy without sounding harsh. Love your channel, I've learned from a lot. Could you use 3 plugins to mix your track? Which would it be? Oh, that's a really good question. If I could only use 3 plugins without being really quickly, lots of different choices on compressors. The Bomb Factory works, 1176, you could just use that and then do a lot of automation. I think the Waves MV2 is one of the best plugins ever made. I love the Waves MV2. And then other than that, EQ wise, there's a lot. Slate make great EQ, Mac DSP make great EQ, Waves make great EQ. There's a lot of different choice. SM57 on acoustic guitars, the best acoustic guitar sound I ever got. Mark Endert called me up, one of the greatest mixers in the world, and said, I love your acoustic guitar sound, how did you do it? I said, I used an SM57. And he goes, good job. Should I feel guilty for limiting the shit out of a bass track? It got me to swear. No. No, if you need to. The thing is, a lot of the time, the reason why I like the MV2 is it brings up the lower note stuff, gives it energy and squashes the top, and the MV2 really is my secret on bass guitar. Put the MV2 on your end of your chain on bass guitar. It will change your life. Wave sometimes sell them for like 39 bucks. Definitely get in on that. Would you all do me a favor? Thank you ever so much, everybody that's watching. Would you mind liking this and sharing it? Sorry to beg. I was accused of begging before, but apparently if you don't like and share it, then nobody knows that we're on live streaming. Because the only other way is they communicate by sending emails, which is a little late, isn't it? You know, you get an email tomorrow saying that I'm live streaming. So if you could hit the like button, I really appreciate it. And if you can share it, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you ever so much. Hey, War on the Dragon, I got you. Thanks very much. Yes, this is what this is about. This is community. Let's help each other. AKG 415 EB. I don't know the 415, but I'm sure it's amazing. AKG make great mics. How to warm up, fatten up the acoustic snare. Don't want to use samples. I mean, just go down to about 100, 110 and boost it. You know, don't be afraid to boost the lows and the low mids on a snare. Typically 110, 220 was a very musical area for the low end of a snare. I've worked with guys like Jack Douglas that makes me boost 60 hertz down there. I mean, the boost to 60 on the Pultec pulls up the low lows. Please like and share. Thank you very much. Hello from Portugal. Please let us know when you're coming online because I'm living in India and I have to wake up. Now the time is 3 in the morning. I'm sorry. You have to... I'd like to do a Mick Guzowski. I think his manager and my manager, I think we have the same manager. So I'll ask my manager about that. Do you think you can be an artist and an engineer in the industry, or do you have to choose? You can be both. You can be an artist, an engineer, producer, and a mixer. I think Rick Beato, we were just talking about earlier, I don't know if he's still online. I mean, there's a guy who's a multi-instrumentalist. I mean, like myself, I'm I'm not a piano player like he is. He's like a real piano player. I'm a great guitar player, as you know, but I'm not a great piano player. I'm a Beatle piano player. And I'm an okay drummer. I drum enough to play on records. Have I tried Mixbus yet? No, not yet, but a lot of my friends have and love it. I went down and met with the Harrison guys when I was in Nashville. I was very impressed with their philosophy and everything about it. They seem to be really great guys. Okay, with low ceilings on drums, I used to have a studio in England that had low ceilings, and it was great. It sounded really, really good. The Stax stuff was done in a low ceiling, a lot of the Atlantic stuff, so I don't know. If you want big, huge drums, high ceilings is the way to go. This is relatively high. It's probably about, in the middle here, it might be as much as 12 feet, so he's got a relatively high ceiling. But you don't need a high ceiling. Oops, stomach. You don't really need a high ceiling in most situations. It's really, really good. It's really good if you want big rock drums. If you want tight kind of modern sounding drums, hi in Norway, if you want tight modern sounding drums, you can go with a low ceiling. You know, so don't be afraid of that. Hello in Belgium. Okay, I'm just gonna go SSL Duality of Need Genesis Black. I've never shot them against each other. I've used both. I've used the Genesis when I did that Tori Kelly song. Are You in England? Remember the Professor Green Tori Kelly song? I did that on a Neve Genesis. Say preamp as a 3D quality is helping to mix. When people say something means 3D, what they mean is it has depth, which usually means that the high end is very detailed because we hear high end first. So if you get a lot of low end, a lot of low mids, a lot of mid, and a lot of high end, it will appear to have more depth. If it's only high end, it will feel like it's in your face. If it's only low end, it will feel like it's pushed back. Simple as that. So when they say it has depth, and they think, when people say, oh, the speakers have a lot of depth, this preamp has a lot of depth, this instrument has a lot of depth, what they mean is there's a lot of frequency response. And that's a beautiful thing. It really helps. It really helps it. I work on Mixbus and would love to get a free copy. You put out so much good content. Thank you ever so much. Multimedia iLoudspeakers, have you tried them? Yes, they just sent me a pair. I'm going to try them and I'm going to do a giveaway. Stay tuned. You can win a pair. How much do you work apart from Produce Like a Pro? 12 hours a day, producing, engineering, mixing, and I do this about 2 or 3 hours a day. I don't love a woman, I love Beethoven. Well, Beethoven's incredible. LA2, so let me set into LA2A. LA2A into 1176. Use your LA2A to compress, use your 1176 on 20 to 1 to limit just the peaks. Adam speakers are great. How's about building a tone with the Axe? With the Axe FX, I've never really had enough time to play with it. No, this is Stevie Black's studio. I've never really had a... yeah, I mean, I think he's just doing different... He's got loads of different things, so there's lots of different things he's got on the ceiling which are breaking it up. And to be honest, my studios have always been a bit of an experiment. I've had smart guys give me ideas, but then... stereo miking or doubling. Double when you can, it will sound wider, you get 2 different signals. Stereo miking is beautiful if you've got one source, like a piano or an acoustic guitar, you could solo acoustic guitar, you could do it in stereo. Otherwise, double, you'll create more width. How much choice can you create? Is too much choice killing creativity? Yeah, if it's not focused. I mean, having unlimited choice was always the Beatles' dreams, but they had focus. It was Queen's dream, but they had focus. I don't think... I think you just have to have focus and go, okay, we could put a sitar here, but we're not going to. It's just as simple as that. You know, you've still got to say yes or no. Torn between ATC or Genelec for midfield monitors. I mean, I use Genelecs. I love them. I've used them for years. My ears like them. ATC make a great product as well. I've gone into studios of ACCs and put Genelecs in because I know them. I'm not an arsehole. I just swore. I'm not a guy that's going to be like, you have to buy the Genelecs. I'm just telling you my personal preference is quickly stopping. I used to mix and record on Alesis monitors, and I know them really well. And I've done like 4 or 5 records that actually sold on Alesis monitors. Okay, so my personal preference is Genelecs. I know them, I love them, they sound great, they're really good for me, but I do know that ATC make great stuff as well, so I'm not going to put it down. Okay, paradox of choice, procrastination. Yeah, it can be, but you don't have to. Headphones for monitoring. I use the Ultrasones for extreme isolation. Not Ultrasones, sorry, I use extreme isolation for the isolation headphones. And I use Ultrasones for checking my mixes. And I recently got a pair of Beyer DT1990s, which are unfreaking believable for listening to music. The most enjoyable music thing ever. For high-end vocal, is there any good mic to make it thick? I mean, yes. I mean, high-end, it's U47. U47. Every time I did add reverb, it seems like it's to reduce till you hardly hear it. In the end, it seems like there's no reverb going on at all. I hear this problem. Yeah, I mean, if you've got a lot of stuff in the same frequency, just adding reverb just soaks it up and it ends up as this big blob. So you have to EQ your reverb quite often. On a kick drum in particular, I don't put any low end on my reverb. You might go, why? Because if I put low end on my kick drum, it's going to go on my reverb on my kick drum. It'll just be this huge lump of low end. So every time the guy hits the kick, instead of going boom, boom, it'll go boom, boom, and it'll just be horrible. You don't want that. So get used to EQing your reverb. You can EQ before your reverb or after, or do both. You can EQ going into it and EQ coming out of it. The point is you can control your reverb. If you start doing that, you can have bright reverbs on certain things, you can have darker reverbs on others. Get creative. If you're just going to put everything full range, the whole frequency through 5 different reverbs, you're going to end up with what you're saying, just a big wash of reverb, and you don't know where anything's coming from. There's no definition, and it all just disappears into the mix. How would you go about placing room mics, and do you compress them on the way in? I don't compress them on the way in because I like having the choice of something really natural sounding. But I do often have one special effects mic up. Like I might put one that I trash out and destroy that's really fun. One more time for the begging. Would you please like and share so that people know we're online talking? Please like and share. Plugin Alliance is one of the best resources for great plugins, answering one of the questions. Yeah, they make an amazing. Thank you. Blessings to you, Jonathan. Favorite mix engineer and best mixing on the Middle Age. My favorite mixers currently are Spike Stent. Need I say more? Spike is unbelievable. Mark Endert's always been a favorite of mine. And Steve Fitzmaurice will always be one, if not the greatest mixer alive. I mean, those 3 guys, one's Irish, Steve's Irish, obviously. Spike actually went to the same high school as me. He's a couple of years older than me, went to my high school. And Mark Endert has mixed records for me, and I've done work of all 3 in different capacities. They've mixed tracks I've produced, mixed tracks I've engineered, mixed tracks I've written, and all 3 have always knocked it out of the park. Spike is probably the biggest mixer in the world, isn't he, Spike Stent? Probably. Tom Elmquist is right up there. Have I tried the CLA Mix Plus plugin yet? Yeah, actually the CLA plugins are amazing. What audio do you record in? Well, I try to, when I can, record a band live. Yes, please hit like and share, everybody. Thank you ever so much for saying that. Yes, please hit like and share so that people know we're online. My favourite... that's a tough one. There's too many things. It's always tough when I get asked a favourite. Thank you ever so much, Clairville. I really appreciate it. Compressor on the master bus, your choice setting, threshold, attack and release. I use, when I can, when I work in a hybrid fashion, I use the SSL bus compressor. I use that, always use that on the auto setting. It's much better on the auto setting. And I tend to compress around 4 or 6 to 1. Would you work more in film? Would you do more work? I do work in film and TV all the time. I'd love to do an interview with Bob Rock. He doesn't do many. We have mutual friends, so maybe it will. There's a lot of guys that I get asked to interview, and they're on like everybody's channels. I'm trying to find some different guys. You know, I've interviewed Chris. I've interviewed a lot of big engineers and producers, some of the biggest ones in the world. But I don't know if everybody needs another Andrew Sheps interview, do they? I love Andrew. Maybe I'll talk to him. Martin Birch. Yeah, that'd be amazing if that was possible. You know, but there's so many. This like every day I open up a new interview from the same 3 guys. You know, there's always the same 3 guys doing the same interviews over and over again. You know, you can see. Thank you in Canada. Yeah, well, Kendrick Lamar's amazing. We're about to do a couple of hip hop courses, 3 hip hop courses. You're gonna love it. Tony Platt. Martin off the studio would be amazing. Would be absolutely amazing. Jim Scott, he's mixed an album for me. That would be great. Hugh Padgham. I know, Hugh's very private. Hugh would be... See, those are the kind of guys I want to get to. You hit the nail on the head there, Alexandra. Alexandra, it's like Hugh Padgham is... He is one of the greats of the greats. And he's... You know, all the guys we're talking about now came after him. I mean, he really did it. Have you made recordings at Abbey Road? Yes, I did the Frey Live at Abbey Road. You know, the Abbey Road sessions, I did that. I mixed that back at my studio in LA. How about XL Junkie? Thank you. You know what? I emailed him, but I haven't heard back. If you know him, give him a... Oh, Nigel Gray would be amazing. Unfortunately, Nigel is dead. He died just a couple of years ago, and he was incredible. As you know, his son and Graham Copson and I... did a video together. Go check it out. Have you seen the Rolling Stones live? Yes, about 8 times. I saw them 4 times on one tour. Kevin Shirley, that'd be great. What's the difference between multiband compressor and normal compression? Multiband, you can select the frequencies that it chooses to compress. Thanks for doing this. Any question? Would you recommend summing throughout Bulgaria or separate machine? I'm not a big summing person. Consoles, yes, with multiband, with compression and dynamics and gating and expanders and stuff. Love that, but not just. I don't just sum for the sake of it. I think you can keep it in the box. Looking for a trick to make sure that record monitor and playback levels are the same when punching vocals. I'd have to know your setup really to understand, because they should be the same unless there's some issue with the way it's said. Just heard Carla's record, Trevor Hall's record. Carla fell in love. It's a beautiful record. Thank you very much. I love making that record. If you like that record, check out Chapter of the Forest. That's even better for me. I love that record. What's the difference would be an album like British Steel have sound if it used cheap compressors, etc. Expensive. Would a normal fan hear that? I don't know. It's interesting because British Steel is one of my favourite records. I remember when it came out. Judas Priest were a big band in England when that album came out. So that's a really good question. I don't know, honestly. I don't know if I can speak to that honestly, and say whether that would be true or not. I think that honestly, cheaper gear in the right hands can get amazing results. It really comes down to the ears. But that's probably with somebody who's made tons of records. So they've made records on expensive gear, and they can take that information and apply it back to the cheap. Favourite Beatles song, Hey Jude. Second favourite or equal favourite is Don't Let Me Down. So Don't Let Me Down, Hey Jude. What's the difference between multiband, normal compressor? I answered that a second ago. Multiband compresses frequencies. You select specific frequencies and it compresses that. A regular compressor will just compress the signal. And if the low end happens to be the loudest thing, that gets compressed first. With a multiband, you could choose not to compress the low end, etc., etc. So intelligent compression, almost. How can I make my drums sound like Steely Dan and the Blockheads? I mean, that's a big question. I mean, Steely Dan, we're talking to Lanice. I mean, they're fairly dead. We were over at go watch Clay Blair's studio, the Boulevard Recording. Go and watch that. They recorded a lot of Azure there, and you'll see some of the recording techniques in there. So go watch that Clay Blair video that I did. Favorite superstar band you have worked with? I don't know. I worked with Aerosmith. That was a lot of fun. 9 months of work. Worked with the Fray. That was a lot of work. A lot of fun. Worked with James Blunt. Superstar band though. I don't know if I could say that because I've listened to How to Save a Life. How many room mics do you get on the drum sound? On the single, it is a pair of room mics on the wall behind, a pair on the walls on the outside for width. And that was it. So two stereo pairs. The ones on the wall behind were measured in phase with the snare. And the ones on the walls on the outside were just done that way. Have you ever mixed an entire album in a box? Yes. And if so, why? Just because I wanted to be really, really loud and smashing, and it was very synth orientated. When you decide to use drum samples or replace blend live drums, and when you decide not to? I mean, I did that whole... Robert John and the Wreck album with no drum samples whatsoever, and it's live from Sunset Sound. The whole album was recorded in one day. Yeah. Oh, is it hard to intern where you live? I talked to Berkeley about 3 or 4 years ago when they started that program about working on that course. So if you do it, let me know how it goes, because I was talking about working with them on it. What's the heaviest band you've recorded? I don't know. Probably bands you've not heard of. Like local bands as I was up and coming that were pretty metal. I've recorded a lot of rock bands, but I don't know if you would call them heavy. I recorded Black Veil Brides. I did their Live and Burning album. I recorded and mixed that. That was the biggest selling live DVD of 2 years ago. So favourite drum pre, APIs, 312s on drums. But I'll take my Kadak. It sounds amazing. Or a Neve. What's the right time to worry about improving your internal clock? What about internal clock? You mean improving your external clock, going from it? I don't know. Honestly, I know a lot of great guys that don't have external clocks, and people will hate me. People will hate me from saying that, but I know guys that mix that have no external clock. So I don't know. That's very contentious. Please like and share, because I'm sorry to beg. Sounds so whippy, but yes, I always take the snare as a reference. Yeah, I know, Brian. It's one of those things, How is Stephen Tyler? He's lovely. I mean, he's very intense. I like the Glim John drum miking technique. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you, Ice Mike. Yeah, please hit like and share just so people know we're online. Otherwise, I don't know, because the only other way is email notification. Oh, you have to hit the bell now. You heard about this? I'm so out of touch. I've been doing YouTube a couple of years and I still don't know what I'm doing. Like that, improving internal clock by sleeping more. Nice. Drum recordings sound on a national records recorded by Peter Cassis are massive. Have you heard it? Yeah, I did a panel with him. Yeah, they're really good. They're really good drum sounds. I like them. That's the good stuff there, where the energy comes from the vibe. Having to capture the record, band warning, and not to stop the song might be the best take. Yeah, exactly. Just encourage performance. Thank you ever so much. Nothing's nothing. Any Buster Cell that compares to your real one? I don't know. I mean, the Alan Smarts are really, really good. My one's special. I'm just lucky. I did really like Wes Audio because I like the fact that you can control it using your USB and a plug-in. So if you are going to buy one, my personal preference, outside of the Alan Smart, which is obviously an industry standard, outside of the Alan Smart, I would probably get the Wes Audio one. Yeah, people love the Stam as well. Tube amp still king. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than that interactivity you get. But if you're just going to do big chords and chunking stuff, you know, Axe effects, Kempers are amazing. What do you think about 24? I've used 20-buck microphones all the time. Pro Tools and Logic. I think Logic is amazing for the virtual synths that come with it. The virtual instruments that come with standard on Logic are freaking unbelievable. Un-freaking believable. It's so good. What about a bottom mic inside a tom with no bottom skin? If I'm using a concert tom, I don't usually mic the bottom. I just usually mic the top. But I have done it. Have you worked with Paul McCartney? No, I've never worked with Paul McCartney. I'm good friends with Brian Ray from Paul's band, but I've never worked with him. Do you ever use SM57 on vocals? Yes. I tend to use them on guys or girls that are... I try to use them on guys and girls that like to hold a microphone and sing live, and I think that if that makes them more comfortable, the performance is more important than the tone. So I use a 57 for a handheld for that. So it's about performance. Performance is more important than the tone. Strapped to Blackline clock to Apollo second gyros to improve the low and mid range a lot of width. Great. Looking for a set of Paradigm SE5. Somebody was asking about Los Angeles. Let's go back because I'm here. Is LA oversaturated with a new producer? 30 from Serbia. It's getting really bad here. Should I consider moving to LA? I mean, yes. Half of the LA people are moving to Nashville because they want more affordability, because houses in Nashville are like still as much expensive as they are still about a third the price of in LA. Here, you know, I could sell my house here and buy a house literally 5 times the size in Franklin. You know, Matt Mahaffey's house is 5,300 square feet, and it's cheaper than my house. And my house is not 5,300 square feet. So you get a lot of great choice in Nashville. The prices are going up, but a lot of people are moving there. However, I love being in LA, and so does my wife and my family. Do you have a pool? No, I wish I did. Nashville is full. We are closed. See? It is pretty crazy. I hear there's 4,000 people moving there a month. D112 inside kick and D6 outside kick. Good combo, yes and no. Yeah, that's great. The D6 outside is really super rock. Absolutely fantastic. So please like and share. Let people know we're online here. How did the red mic LED session go? Oh, I love that mic. It's really good. Really, really good. Yeah, I mean, it's between Nashville and LA. What's going on? So, no, I don't head spending time in Guitar Center. I just don't have the time to do it. If I actually had more time, I would spend more time in music stores. What's more fun than picking up guitars off a wall and trying out different stuff? It's amazing. I love Guitar Center. And the thing about Guitar Center is, anybody here from LA? There's a guy in there who does artist relations called Dave Weideman. And Dave Weideman is one of the coolest, most generous, easygoing people in the world. And he makes it so that every professional in LA likes Guitar Center. We like Guitar Center because Dave Weideman, give him a shout out, Dave Weideman, it's W-E-I-D-E-R-M-A-N, or is it 2 N's? Sorry, Dave. It's just a great guy. And this is a big deal when it comes to businesses like VK. Why do I like Vintage King? I like Vintage King because Mike Nera runs it. And Mike Nera is a really cool guy. And he looks after you. And I have... should I chuck it and get a Kemper? No, don't chuck your amp. Just get a Kemper as well. Use the both. And you already liked and shares. Okay, explaining compression. Let's get onto that quickly. So, Attack How quickly does it compress, release? How long does it hold compression for? Threshold, when does the compression start? So the threshold part, when you got 1176, it's a fixed threshold compressor. So what that means is the threshold is here. I'll try and do it so it looks better. And you turn the volume up, and as you turn the volume up like this, it compresses. So the ratio, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 6 to 1, 8 to 1, 20 to 1, whatever. What does that mean? That means it has to go X number of dB over to let 1 dB through. So 2 to 1 is, when it goes 2 dB over the threshold, 1 dB is audible, that it goes over. When it's 4 dB over the threshold, 1 dB. When it's 20 dB louder, 1 dB gets through. So what does that mean? The higher number, limiting. The lower number, compression. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so I could make it more. I like B52s and a D6s on the kick. Both are really good for a rock kick. Can you explain how the critiques work? Do you critique personally? Yes, I critique personally. So in the mix in my academy, it's called, just so you know, it's called producelikeapro.com. If you go to producelikeapro.com, you can sign up for the academy. There's a $17 a month price, which is super cheap, or you can buy the whole year for $169. If you buy the whole year, you get about 22 or 23 multi-tracks. Every single week on a Friday, I take 10 mixes and I mix critique them. We usually get through every mix. You'd be amazed how many mixes I do it every week. Sometimes I do it twice a week because we get so many mixes. So you get mixed critiques. Everybody that's in there, like AJ, their mixes have gone from like here to here. I was in somebody else's mix academy, who will remain nameless, and they were talking about like, oh, you're coming on great and everything. I listened to the mix. It was really good. The low end was dreadful, but it was really good. And everybody was patting him on the back going, how great. The problem is the guy running the Mix Academy didn't know how to get low end out of a mix. So how's he going to help? So, you know, what it is without sounding pompous, you know, I've mixed Aerosmith records. You know, I mixed one half of it. Neil Avron mixed the other half of the last record. I engineered the whole record. I've mixed 2 Ace Frehley albums. I've mixed James Blunt. I've mixed The Fray. You know, I'm a producer, engineer, and mixer. And I'm blessed that all the people I talk to and I bring into the academy and everything are good friends of mine and mixers as well. And we're only going to get bigger and better. Thank you very much, Jeff. I really appreciate it. So they might be coming in here in a minute to record some strings. Have you worked in progressive metal mixes? I haven't. I wish I did. I love prog. Prog is my favourite genre, if nobody knows this. Beatles, huge fan. Queen are my favourite band, but outside of Queen being my favourite band, see, I love Bohemian Rhapsody and the whole of Night of the Opera. All the other bands I like are early Genesis, early Yes, I like Peter Gabriel solo, I mean, Kate Bush, Can, Caravan, Camel, Hatfield on the North. Are these ringing any bells with people? I love prog. So even though I've done pop, I've done reggae, I've done metal, I've done everything, I love prog. It's absolutely amazing. Stephen Wilson is insanely talented. Okay, great. What is your favourite VST reverb? I think everybody loves Valhalla. Do you have the Valhallas? I think that's pretty much the best reverb on the market at the moment. Do you think amp sims like Amplitude can be used for final products? Yes. I'm about to do a course at the end of the month where we use Amplitude, so check it out. Thoughts on going audio school, worth it? I think it comes down to the kind of person you are. So what I mean is, are you somebody who loves music school? Do you love music school? Do you love... No, can I phrase it better? I'm sorry. Are you a guy that loves going, or girl that loves to sit in a classroom and be taught? Do you love that? Is that what appeals to your brain? If it is, go to school. If you're a practical guy and you have the opportunity to go and intern and you can be humble, go intern. It's really, those are the extremes. And then there's some things sort of in between. But the reality is it's not so much about what's best for everybody, it's what's best for the individual. It's like when you guys ask me, do I prefer ATCs and Genelecs? No, I will tell you, I will tell you what I prefer. Yeah, Valhalla is amazing. I'll tell you I prefer the Genelecs, but I'm not going to tell you they're better than the ATCs. That would be a lie. Proax are great speakers. You know, there's beautiful speakers. The Rocks, the Unity Rocks, are amazing speakers. What do I prefer? I prefer the Genelecs, but what's best? They're all great. And I know that I don't want to sound like wishy-washy. I'm just telling you that's my feeling on schools. I think that if you're the kind of kid that really, or guy that really loves that kind of education, then that's what you should do, because it will work for you. Were you a school kid? Did you love going to school and reading and writing and doing science and all that stuff? If you loved all those things, then you are going to love going to school. Do you believe that music mixing is learned, and whatever is related to produce music? I do think it's learned. I think you can. One of the reasons why I started to produce like a pro, and the reason why we have the Academy and do mix critique, is because anybody can make YouTube videos about mixing. Trust me, there's lots of YouTube videos where this is how you EQ a kick. I mean, yeah, because you go out there. Why don't you guys do it? Everybody, I'll give you a bet, or you can all go and start. You can all go and start your own YouTube channels. Just go and watch 5 other people's YouTube channels on mixing kicks, and then you can do a mixing kick video. It's really not magic. So you can learn the technical. Unfortunately, mixing is a lot more than the technical. It's about knowing when to make those decisions. What do you think of bring back old school panning effects such as Eddie Kramer or the Beatles' A Day in the Life? I'm not sure what you mean by Eddie, but Beatles' A Day in the Life. I mean, yeah, I love those kind of pan things. I love sort of panning things around, yeah. Remember, Itchycoo Park isn't Eddie. That's George, and he's the guy that also did the Hendrix stuff as well. That wasn't Eddie. They brought the guy that did Itchycoo Park, and he was in the room next door, and he came in. I know that Eddie, when he did the middle of A Whole Lot of Love, was hired because of those 2 songs, even though he hadn't done that thing. The George, he's got a Greek last name. Anybody here remember the name of the guy that did Itchycoo Park, who did all that stuff? Anyway, ever recorded a black metal band? I've recorded a lot of metal. Yeah, Jeff Beck's Day in the Life is amazing. But anything Jeff Beck is amazing. Was it worth buying the DT? Yeah, if you got the money to buy the 1990s, buy them. They sound amazing, but they're not cheap. Is it worth buying? Heck, if you've got money to buy them, it is worth buying. You know what I mean? It's really not about... They're so much fun to listen to. I might have to go in a few minutes, and I might come back on a little later. Just because I'm going to check to see how they're doing with they might be doing some live strings. So give me a second. Let's maybe walk. What amounts should you charge? It really depends. You've got to find out what your local area, what people charge. You've got to kind of price yourself so you do it. Are you guys ready to do live strings?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Are you ready to do live strings?
Ready to do it.
You're live and streaming.
Let's rock on the strings.
Live and stream, Mr. Stevie Black. All these questions are coming in. Energy in a rock mix. Yeah, that's a good idea. What does everybody charge for doing your mixes locally? You can help each other out. Do you need a separate clock for tracking? You don't need one. Some people do.
Our mix is going for these days.
I don't know what mixes are going for. I know how much some of the bigger guys charge. Can everybody like and share so they know we're live streaming here? So we're doing some filming here with Stevie. I'm gonna mid-side compression EQ. I'm a little skeptical on that. Most of the big guys I know don't do that. I know a few. I saw a YouTube video recently about how to widen your mix, and you know that was great, but panning back into mono and half of the mix is out of phase. So it's a little naive. I mean, you know, I don't know if you remember when I went to Plyman. I went to Infrasonic, sorry, and we talked about Pete Lyman. We talked about mastering for albums, and he said that when he masters vinyl, quite a lot of these mixes, you know, where you've got the online mixer guys, the YouTube guys that are telling you to like do this MS stuff. He said the problem is he gets the mixes and he can't master them because, or he has to do a lot of work to them because otherwise the stylus will jump out because of the phase issues. That was what was beautiful about the ye olden days of mixing. It was all about getting great phase, and that's just something that doesn't happen anymore as often, you know. What overhead mics? I don't know what those are. Let's have a look. Oh, those are Mojaves. They're Mojaves. Oh, you just you can be a beginner mixer. Join up. We're going to help you. We've got like 700 people in there that just help each other. You know, AJ's on there. AJ will help you. Toby will help you. Everybody will help you. Speaking of help, Eric, would you grab my laptop and bring it out so I can get out of the way?
Of course.
I'm just going to keep waffling on. So please like and share so that people know we're online. That would be absolutely amazing. I don't know how much longer I can go without budget studio monitors, please. I mean, I'm going to try the iLouds out. I'll see what I see how they come across. I mean, they're really inexpensive. Really, really super inexpensive. So wonderful stuff. So this is Stevie's studio. You can see Eric's moving some stuff for us. Any idea on classic single pass for analog synths? I'm not quite sure what you mean, sorry. Can I be you for Halloween? Sure. What's the best cheap mic in your opinion? I mean, it's a 57, isn't it? I mean, it's the most durable mic ever made. Can do whatever. Thank you very much for watching. Tweed Deluxe or 18 watt. I'd like them both. Whatever you can afford, whatever you give. Yeah, Positive Grid Bias stuff is amazing. Show us the mic string quartet. Yeah, you're going to get all of that. We're doing a full course on it. You're going to watch all of this. One of your last videos you mentioned you can be a bit, say, direct with your assistant. There's nothing personal, but you found yourself doing the same with artists. Yes. Andre, you have to know when to that. Sometimes with artists, I'm borderline factual and blunt, and it can freak them out. So you just have to know when to do that. Yeah, Jay's saying there. Yeah, just join the community. Try. What I would suggest, just try out a month. It's only $17. Try out 1 free month, and you'll see just how wonderful everybody's in there. How should I cook my eggs? However you want, my friend. Sorry, meant produce like a pro. That's an age-old signing up today. Pumped. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you in the academy. I'm very happy to be able to help, Alexandra. Lewitt 940 on Model 47 for vocals. I really like the 940. But if you're going to get a VMS, they're wonderful, especially the C12. Have you ever used Pyramix DAW for merging? I haven't used that myself. Favorite kitchen utensil? Whatever I can cook with. Interface converters, what do you use? I have everything. I have Apogee. I'm going to the Apogee factory soon, so we'll talk to them. I have Apogee, I have 192s, and I have Lavery, and I mix through my Lavery, and it's amazing. Thank you ever so much, BD. Tips for big drum sound in a dead room, reverb, and maybe samples. Sorry, you have to do it. If you want big. You working your sideburns out, Clairville? Nice. Saving up for rack gear. What rack gear do you have? Must have. Recording volume spiking 18 dB. As long as you're not clipping, don't worry about it. Every mastering engineer, all they say is don't clip. Because if you get digital distortion, there's not much they can do about it. Do you put your coffee cup on the SSL? No. Cheap alternative to a 421. What's a cheap alternative to a 421?
57.
57, I'm getting, yeah. Honestly, yeah. We went into Sunset and we had the original mic list for Van Halen 1 and 2, and it was all 57s and 546s, which were the budget 57s with the fixed cables. And that's on 2 Van Halen records that sold multi-millions. I wouldn't use hi-fi speakers for mixing. They just tend to not take quite the RMS volumes, so I tend to blow them up with peaks.
So I've got
Do you use Getty Reverb and drums? 44. Ever take a orchestral trailer cinematic mixing tutorials? Yes, yes, and yes. That's what we're doing now.
I'm splitting up the MIDI.
Ever tried a PAL 57 combo? I haven't. Best advice proposing myself as an intern to a studio. Just be really humble and be willing to work 15 hours a day. Thanks for being cheerful and inspiring. You're very welcome. The road is amazing. Supporting your channel since I guess 9,000 followers. Thank you, RJ. Yeah, I love King's X. That's a really, really good idea. Ralph, how are you? Yes, I love the Bayer 201. I can leave the room and let you get back to work.
He's just printing the separate stems of the...
Oh, okay, great. So everybody, please like and share. Look, there's a little glimpse into what we're doing. What are we doing, Stevie?
Making some awesome.
Doing a little string arranging for the song, so I start with the MIDI and work it out from there.
Beautiful. He's just been, while we were on live in the other room, he was writing the string arrangement on MIDI, and now he's going to go in there and play it. That's pretty awesome. And then you can watch that. Very, very nice. More Marshall amps, yes. So please like and share. Let everybody know that we're online. That would be amazing. Maybe you'll get a little glimpse of it. So many questions. I don't know where to start. Diffusers, Samson Resolve ribbon tweeters are amazing. Great. Do you like Manny reference C mic? Yeah, it's amazing. The Manny mics are amazing. All right. I am going to go and create some rock and roll history. I might see you a little bit later. Please stay. So please like and share so everybody knows it was out there. I thank you ever so much for watching. You all rock and have a marvelous time. Wait, I have a cue. Go on then. Hit me with the cue. What? Come on. You said have a nice day. Go, what? Huh? Huh? All right. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. I'll speak to you. We are going to do a studio tour. Thanks, Malcolm. Speak to you all later. Bye-bye.